business case to use AI. And that's a problem. It's only about 20% of the cases, maybe worldwide, of companies who can really make good business cases, because that implies, okay, we know what AI can do. And we have these tasks to do to create this kind of value, and that's the strategy we follow. How does AI fit into this loop? So this is really like you have a loop of humans, a decision-making process. How does AI fit in that? And where? Not at every level. You have to make those decisions. And many business leaders are simply not trained to do that. So we really need that kind of perspective as well. And it's the same with a nation, for governments. It's the same thing. It's not enough to have a governance document with ticking boxes and say, look, we've taken care of all of this. At the end of the day, it needs to become an accepted way of working. And that's legitimacy. It's perceived. It needs to be accepted. And that requires a lot of communication and demonstration on behalf of the authority. Okay, this is a good question. With the increasing amount of questionable or fabricated news and data available, fake news, could you talk about how AI systems might be able to navigate this world, seeing they're so dependent of data but unable to make reasoned judgments? I think it's a very good question because it's a very relevant question today. I think this is what happened in COVID-19. Because if I can be very critical, during COVID-19, let's say between December until now, the AI community has been relatively quiet. And what we see is that we've resorted to means that use the traditional statistical methods to predict whether our intensive care units are going to be under pressure or not, when we're going to flatten the curve, compare countries. Also with our behavior that we need to show as humans, we use behavioral change methods. We call it behavioral economics today, but it's still very old-fashioned. We put some paint on the road or on the paveways, and people follow it. Very old-fashioned. So we've resorted actually back to the technology we had before. AI wasn't there much. Yes, robots could help. You could see in China, certain robots could deliver food because there's no physical interaction anymore then. So robots are very useful in that sense. But AI community was actually pretty not there. And one of the reasons is, in my view, is, yes, because we worked with incomplete data. Worldwide, people had to work with incomplete data and some data that were not accurate. And if that's not the case, then you see that many important pillars of an AI-driven world collapse. And why am I saying that? About 10 years ago, you saw suddenly more and more articles appear as well, like, with the new AI era, trust is the new currency. We want to trust. Blockchain is one of these exchanges. But trust is important. And of course it is important, because without trust, we can't trust our data. But it seemed that people started to believe once we use more technology, trust will follow. But that's the wrong kind of reasoning. What we've seen today in COVID-19 is there's a lot of technology. But the technology itself doesn't work if people and nations don't trust each other. That's the other way around. So that's been a big challenge. I mean, even statistically, you can see that in certain countries, when you put it on certain criteria, the normal distributions are not there. So you know the data are not right. And that has led to certain disasters that certain countries, continents even, were not prepared well. They said, okay, with a mindset on technology, we'll rely on those data, we'll calculate our prediction models, and they were wrong. At that point, you need strong and intelligent leadership, which means, and I wrote an article on this, is that you need to have leaders who can anticipate. And AI also doesn't have that quality, to anticipate, because that means you need to be imagining different scenarios. You need to think about different realities, how implausible they may be, but are you prepared to deal with those when there's a crisis? And that's something uniquely human as well. Okay. Tuan? Xi Jing?
Yep, hi.
Hi, it's 11:38.
Yep, I think we just have time for one more question if you'd like to answer any last questions. Yeah.
Okay, let me see.
Get a good one.
I'll go upstairs. I'll go up a little bit because can you have it? Okay, very quickly, I see. I'll share someone asked for the source that algorithms involved in hiring workers can stay in job 15% longer. I will give that reference to SG Innovate. They can, or they can circulate it. Let me. Okay, this is an important societal question. Final one. How do we manage the digital divide in the sense that some people know how to work with AI and many don't? Will this create major problems in the economy and workforce? That's a big question. And a simple and straightforward answer is yes, that will be a major problem if we embark on a journey that we make all our nations smart. Then many people will be left behind if they don't skill up, upskilling. But of course, there's a lot of philosophical questions around this as well. And again, with COVID-19, what you can see is that you have certain people becoming aware of, is this the kind of society we want to create? Because they just see like, okay, we've been so focused on maximizing profit, optimizing our technology, just focused on business only, competitiveness, our rankings are important. Is this really the society I want? From that point of view, you could say, well, maybe we should do it differently. And some people, if you look at social media, they're really hoping that the new normal will be actually a completely different world. I don't think that's going to happen because I see too many companies in the starting blocks already ready to do the same as before.